Hey everyone, when having multiple games in a row where your teammates all lose lanes and feed, you naturally feel like you need to prevent that from happening in your future games. I've been through this. A lot of people try to use the saying, you need to spread your lead to other lanes. This isn't true at all and is a huge myth. You actually don't need to leave your lane at all in a lot of games. Doesn't mean you should never roam, but that's what I'm going to get into today. After watching this, you should have a much better idea on how to win games where teammates are feeding, and when to roam or just stay in mid, regardless of the champion you're playing.
But before we get into it, here's your team with another game-winning lead in solo queue. Uh-oh, it looks like nobody was subscribed to skillcap.com. It's there you'll find the largest selection of League of Legends guides on the entire internet, with over 270 unique courses and over 1,800 videos. That might sound a bit daunting, right? Well, with our browse page, it's as simple as clicking your role and then the skill you want to improve at. Wave control, trading, laning, macro, you name it, we got it, and all of this for every single role in the game. No one else can compare. But it doesn't stop there, as you also get 5 site-exclusive guides every single week that you can only find on our website. Still not convinced? Well, you also get 10 brand new Smurf commentaries every single week, where a challenger expert walks you through how to escape the exact rank you're stuck in for every single role. You can even ask those same challenger experts any questions you have and be guaranteed to have them answered. Need something more personal? We got you covered with one-on-one coaching from the best players that we hand train to the highest standard. The best part of all of this, it's risk-free with our rank improvement guarantee. It's no wonder SkillCapped is the place to improve at League of Legends. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted and head to skillcap.com, link in the description below. Now, back to the video.
We're going to use 2 games. Both of them are of me playing in gold. In this one, I'm on Orianna vs Vex. Let's start here where I get my first solo kill on the Vex. Winning trade's pretty hard. I read that she's going to look to fight me with her passive here, so I dodge aggressively towards her, which lets me get the solo kill in both of her summoners without having to use any of my own. When I get back to lane, I kill her again since she had no summoners. So now I'm 2-0. When you're winning your lane like this is what your priority list looks like. Your first priority is to keep pushing your lead. Your second priority is to keep the enemy mid down and continue to get them further behind. And your third priority is everything else. Point here is the best place to push your lead is your own lane, not other lanes. And it doesn't just mean to kill your laner, that's not the only benefit. And we'll look at that in a sec. But if we go back to the game, look at the minimap. My bot lane is getting shoved in and my top lane, so I can easily use my lead to shove mid and look to roam, right? Wrong. Why would I do that? I think I know what you would be thinking. To help my teammates. There is no team. There is no helping your team. There is nobody that will carry you to a higher rank. You have to carry yourself. So everything you do in this game needs to have that mentality influencing the decision. So if you want to roam, it's never to help your team. It's to get kills and get more fed. Knowing this, that means you should only be roaming when you have no options of pushing your lead further in mid. In low elo, this rarely happens. It basically never happens before you take the enemy tier 1 tower. After that, it can be tricky since pushing that far can make you vulnerable to ganks depending on the map state. But let's just focus on before tier 1 is taken for now. When you have a lead like I have here, you want to push hard and put insane pressure on the map. It's the best way to help your team if you want that to exist. Look here how I get this Vex really low using my ult. Now I'm going to continue to pressure her, and yes, this means under her tower, not afraid to dive. You guys can't keep playing so scared when they are under tower. I junk Vex with my QWE, so next time she'll die to my combo. I ward Raptors to make sure I can't be cheesed by the enemy Graves. With that warded, I'm basically completely safe. That's the only spot he can basically appear next to me without me seeing him early. I continue to dive Vex, but she hits 6, tries to ult, and then Graves shows up at Raptors. I don't want to just run away, he's level 4. Even if he was level 5 or 6, I wouldn't run away. So I walk close enough to get him to jump the wall and try to gank me. I'm completely ungankable right now, but in low elo, these junglers don't realize that. So I can waste his time and even chunk him in the process. My jungler actually counter ganks this to my surprise, so Graves loses flash. See, I just helped my entire team. My jungler got an extremely easy counter gank without having to do anything, and the time Graves is using in my lane is time he could be using ganking my team so they aren't dying now. This is exactly what you want. Same thing is going to happen 30 seconds from now, but from their support, Senna. She tries to gank me mid, so I just flash and kill Vex and exit topside. And before Senna gets back to lane, the enemy ADC dies because she wasn't there. See? Helping my team without throwing my lead. And I'm still pushing my lead and keeping the enemy mid down. That's the next part. Remember the priority list. Number 2 was keeping the enemy mid down. If you do anything on the map and the enemy mid catches up for free, For example, roaming to a lane and getting nothing, so enemy mid just pushes the waves and gets a plate, or even just pushes the waves for free. Then you made a huge mistake. That should basically never happen. When I'm playing in low elo, that happens maybe 1% of the games that I play. You might be wondering though, how come high elo and mid, they always want to clear the wave and roam? Multiple reasons. The main one goes back to what I said earlier. When you can't push your lead anymore in mid, you use your mid priority to roam. In high elo, players know how to stop the bleeding and not be dove under tower like what I'm doing to this Vex. Then it just becomes really dangerous to try and force a dive. That's where roaming comes in. If there's a lane to roam to. Even in high elo, sometimes you shouldn't roam at all. In low elo, you can dive them all day. Then it brings the enemy jungler as well, so you almost kill them too. Boom. Enemy jungler can't affect the map at all now until he heals. Either way, he's wasting his time. Alright, so now let's go to the next part, after you take the enemy tier 1 tower. The same priority list applies. It just gets a bit more dangerous now since you'll be pushing so far. So reading the map and responding accordingly is key here. The enemy Twitch ADC is missing and the enemy Graves is in the lane. Something feels off right now, so I back off and clear this wave. And as expected, he was there looking to cheese me. It was obvious. Graves knows he can't kill me solo or even with Senna there, so there had to be a third. Again, this is perfect. If he's here, my MF should be able to take bot tower now, right? Well, no elo, your teammates won't do the right thing. MF actually recalled while they had those 3 in mid, so we don't get bot tower, but either way, I cleared mid wave and needed to reset. My number 1 priority of keeping my lead and pushing it is still happening. When I'm this fed and the enemy team is this far behind from trying to come to my lane so often, I can just basically run down mid the rest of the game and never let them touch our mid tier 1 tower. I would never go to a side lane this game. Well, your team is doing well this game, so it's not the same. And what if you're playing an assassin? Good point. Let's move to the next game where both of these things happen. My team runs it down, and I'm on Zed. So just like the previous game, I get a solo kill early, and now I'm hard pushing to pressure. As I'm pressuring, look who shows up. The enemy jungler. Exactly what we want. I just kite towards my jungler and get close enough that Vi can use her Q from the brush. Then when Volibear flashes, I finish him with WQ. Obviously, I was never in danger of dying to Volibear here. I would have killed him alone. But with Vi here, I can just use my W to kill him and not have to waste my ult. But Cat tries to kill me when I get back into the lane, and I get my 3rd kill here since I didn't have to use my ult to kill Volibear. Now, I'm fed enough to put insane pressure and not worry about ganks at all. I want to pull as many members from me as possible. Also, all my teammates are losing this game. This makes it even more important I do not roam. If you do end up roaming, it's best to roam towards winning lanes that are pushing on the enemy tower, but remember the priority list. Anyways, just like before, I'm hard pressuring the Cat threatening to dive. And just like last time, the enemy team all feels that pressure, so they all show up to gank me except for the top laner. Volibear shows up first, I avoid his stun with my W. Then Zilean runs in, who had Twitch run under him in stealth. My support Shaco actually shows up here, which is fine. I didn't need him as I could just walk away here a flash if necessary, but with him here and the enemy team forcing this gank so hard, we can actually turn it in 2v4. Obviously, not everyone can pull off this play with Zed, but the point is you don't have to. Bringing the entire enemy team to your lane and you surviving is good enough and will do so much even though you might not think that. It helps everyone on your team, including you. My ADC was feeding this game, and if I didn't pull so much pressure, instead of 0-5, he would have went 0-10. He actually did end up with more than 10 deaths I think, but you get the point. Anyways, after I take mid tier 1, I go to ult Katarina here and try to kill that ignite so she barely survived. But the enemy Volibear shows up, since he feels like he needs to cover for the Katarina. So I just full combo him, and with a little damage from Shaco, he dies without me having to ignite. I would have killed the Volibear on my own here, but with Shaco, I didn't have to use my ignite. And if you're wondering what the enemy jungler should do, it's basically stay as far away from mid as possible. He should gank winning lanes, just like you should roam to winning lanes and avoid losing lanes. Now, I'm going to push all the way to the enemy tier 3 tower and take it. And the main reason I'm going to do this over going to a side lane, since I'm an assassin, is because the side laners for both teams haven't even taken a tier 1. That means laning phase is still going on. Once laning phase ends, then I can transition to a side lane. But once I take this tier 3, I don't want to take the inhib this early. If I did that, they just farm the super minions and we lose all of mid farm. And we don't have Baron to take when they farm supers, so it's not worth to take inhibs before 20 minutes. So since I have nothing else to push in mid lane, now I can look to go to a side lane. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I want to hard push and pressure and bring as many members of the enemy team as possible to me. Think about how much this does for my team. I have 3 people down here, so the rest of my team is basically playing 4v2. If you want to help your team, this is how you do it. At 21 minutes, you can see the minimap and the scoreboard. So even with my top and ADC completely useless, and my jungler still somehow behind the enemy jungler, I've basically blown up the entire map, just hard pushing a lane and pulling pressure and surviving. No random fighting, no helping teammates, none of that nonsense. Alright guys, as you can see, there is no such thing as helping your team or spreading your lead or any of that crap. You need to take the game into your own hands and follow the priority list to make your decisions.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skill Capped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
That's going to bring us to the end of this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.